What's going on, everyone? Welcome to episode 9 of Enter the Javelin, Mixer's first Anthem community web show. We got a great show lined up for you today because our guest is Devon from the Freelancer Codex Podcast. Devon, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, man.
Really appreciate you hanging out tonight, and I'm really looking forward to hearing your insights and experiences from EA Play and your interview with Mike Gamble. Like, that's like incredible stuff, man.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
So you guys, and I love this because I really do, because when I was doing my research for the project, initially there was like 1 or 2 podcasts in the beginning of the Anthem frenzy. But you guys are truly the longest running Anthem podcast on the internet.
It's true, yeah.
Is it? How'd you guys come up with where did this come about? I mean, besides the fact that it's true, it's 100% true.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, it came about. So Steven, or Temp 22, and his brother Mike, we all live in the same town. We're all known each other for a while, and we talked a lot about Anthem after it came out, and we're like, man, we should do something for this. And so we started thinking about a podcast and what we could name it, and went through a whole bunch of different things, and then we just started going. And then JD was on one of the other podcasts that were there in the beginning, but they kind of fizzled out, didn't want to do anything, so he was looking to keep going. And so we had him on the show, and we liked the experience that he brought to us, because like he always talks about, we don't have a lot of BioWare experience, but I think that actually kind of helps us right now currently.
Yeah, I agree, and I was listening to Anthem Cast today, and they had Eric's on, and he's not a big BioWare guy, so I agree with you, man. And I think things like that just definitely add new perspective to the different types of things we're looking at. Like, it's been a obvious elephant in the room type of thing that people are expecting, like a BioWare experience. I mean, so you have no ties to that whatsoever, so it's you're going in 100% on your own merit.
Yeah, so I mean, it's good, but it's also bad because we don't really see the problems that maybe other people have with it. Yeah. They're concerned with the story and the relationships and everything else, and I'm just like, man, this game looks sweet, so yeah. I'm not super concerned. I mean, I know they make good stories. That's as far as I got with them, and so I wasn't too concerned about it.
So, you touched on it a little bit, but what drew you to Anthem, and what made you really want to pursue this as a project for yourself?
Well, just like with the initial trailer from EA Play last year, right? Mm-hmm. It was like, wow, that's pretty cool, the teaser, and then when they showed it off at the Xbox conference, the full trailer, I was like, man, this just gives you the full Iron Man experience.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's the first thing that came to mind, and I was like, man, this is really cool. It's set in a different universe, and of course, I played a lot of Destiny, I played a lot of Division, and so I really want a game that can give me more than just playing the same stuff over and over again, that doesn't have anything different.
Yeah.
So that's
I definitely agree with that, and like yourself, I've played Division, played Destiny, and it's shaped me as a gamer, how I want to play games moving forward, and it's a frustrating thing, and I mean, being a BioWare fan traditionally, smash all that together. That's basically what I'm so invested now.
Yeah. So
with Anthem coming in February, what is your expectations for the podcast? I know you guys have talked about doing your own YouTube channels, Twitch and/or Mixer channels. What can people expect from you guys moving forward?
Moving forward, I mean, we do have YouTube. We do that every week. We try and do the visual from our podcast. We let people check that out, and we're slowly putting out more content. I mean, the thing is all 4 of us have full-time jobs, just like you, and it's pretty difficult. So it's been hard for us kind of narrowing it down to just doing Anthem. We're so used to playing a whole bunch of games and everything else, and now it's like you don't have time if you're gonna make content. You don't have time for any of that.
Yeah.
So, but no, we plan on keep going with the podcast, and we're trying to do streaming and other things once Anthem does come out. We're gonna have a lot of giveaways and things to do with people that are part of the community, and just we have a lot of interesting ideas in the line.
So I saw today, actually last night and today, someone's building the Anthem PC, and that thing looks incredible. Is that Steve doing that?
Yeah, so Steven's doing that one. He's been slowly building a PC for a little while, and so he likes to show those things off because he knows it annoys me. So now I'm like, I have to build something better than what Steven is doing.
But like he like custom engraved it and everything. Like...
Yeah, so he has a little side business stuff that he does for laser engraving and stuff. So that's pretty. He's been doing that for a long time, so that's something that he can do pretty easily. And so he's pretty good at that. He's also done. If you watch the power builds on Mixer,
yes,
he did their State of Decay placard and stuff on there for that PC, and so he's doing a lot of good stuff. Yeah, he's just been putting it together. We're trying to get nice PCs together for when Anthem comes out. I'm waiting to upgrade mine. We've talked about it before.
Yeah.
I've had mine for a couple of years, but I have a nice graphics card, but my CPU is pretty old. But
yeah,
I mean, it's not too old.
Yeah, and like I think that bubble's about to burst too. We're coming pretty soon to that.
Yep.
So I mean, that's
our wallets are going to be hurting soon.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, mine's not. Mine already is done. It's in the healing process now, so like I think I got a few months before I buy. But like I said that today, that the second you start building and you're happy with it is when you start looking at other things and you're like,
oh yeah,
do I need this or do I need that? Like I spent a good amount of money on mine and I'm happy with it. It does everything I needed to do. Obviously it's encoding the stream right now. It's recording a separate stream on another thing. It's not even sweating right now. Yeah. And I want to do more. What can I do? What more can I do? I can add another graphics card to make it work even better. But that's now we're just getting into dangerous territory. I might be divorced by the time all is said and done with that. But
yep. Yeah. No, that's what he's like. He got a bunch of his stuff, and it's like if you wait until there's something new coming out. There's always something new coming out.
As like so, right now we're like right on that edge of like the new graphics cards, and like I just saw like I was looking for like the dates of like the conferences coming up, and like it says right there, it's like NVIDIA might show the 1180 at Gamescom. I was like, oh my god, don't force me to pay more money. Darklife's asking in the chat, are you guys gonna sell the custom rigs?
No, I mean if you wanted to custom engrave stuff, I'm sure he'd be more than happy to do that for you. You can contact him on Twitter. Or you can hit up our Discord, or there's lots of ways to contact Steven. So.
He's my back. This is my baby. This is my personal PC. And like Steve, I said to you before, Steve, that it actually looks like really, really cool. Like I'm super jealous of that, because like not only is it like open to omissions or commissions.
Yeah.
I will omit the payment to you.
Yeah.
But anyway, we'll move on. We'll move on to EA Play. So you guys, EA got you out there. You guys got in contact with people at EA, and they got you into the experience. They obviously didn't fly you out. They didn't pay for your hotel or anything like that, but they got you access to a little bit more than what the general public had at EA Play. So just go over what what your experience was, and just the overall experience, like going to LA, going to EA Play, because that was like your first like big thing like that, right?
Well, I went to EA, or not EA, I went to E3 the year prior.
Uh-huh.
So I was able to get in through Microsoft to go to E3. And so I went with a friend of mine. We went to E3, and it was, super crowded. Yeah. There was like 75,000 people last year. So it was crazy. But so, I went to that one. So obviously the EA Play is a little bit smaller, but it is pretty crowded. There's a lot of people that go to it, but it's not too bad. There was a lot of stuff to do, lots of games to play. Pretty much every game they showed off at their conference, they have a demo station for, or some kind of place you can go check it out and get more information.
Mm-hmm.
It was, it's like they say, it gets better every year, more organized, so it's still kind of a problem.
Yeah.
But there's definitely issues, but we overall we had a really good time. Once you figure things out, there's 3 days worth of things to do. Really, we were there just to kind of see Anthem. So
yeah. So trying to get in there as many times as you could to like.
Yeah, it's like, okay, we saw Anthem. Now we can wait again in line. What are we gonna do? Okay, let's see.
Yeah, because like I've watched the demo probably 20 or 30 times, and every time you watch, you see something different. And even to the point where like I was watching or listening to the interview with Jon Warner, and someone mentioned the fact that when you dive, you cool off too. Like I didn't realize that, and I was like, I've seen it 30 times, and I'm still missing stuff.
Yeah. The demo they showed at during EA Play was like a small portion. Like the one that they showed off there was like 20 minutes. It's a full 20-minute demo. So there's so much stuff in there. It's like, all right, I'm just trying to remember. I'm like, okay, because you couldn't take any pictures, couldn't record anything.
Yeah, they're basically broke you down at the door, like can't do this, can't do that.
Yeah, I mean, the game looked amazing, running in 4K and just absolutely amazing. But yeah, it was just like, all right, trying to remember what we went over this time. What did we see? And just write it down, and so you can talk about it later. And I think that was the hardest part for us was, because it was kind of our first big experience as a group. We weren't really prepared for, we did a podcast from there. We talked about stuff during the show and everything. But that's the hard thing is like getting content out while you're still there, because it's like, all right, we're going to go do this. We're going to go to dinner. We're going to go, hit up all these places and go back to the conference and check out another demo. And it's like, we don't have time to put content while we're there.
Yep.
So that's the hardest part, really. So.
Well, I mean, even with the 4 of you guys there, you couldn't like
no.
Still couldn't do that.
No, the 4 of us, we all wanted to do different things. Of course, we all wanted to go see Anthem and check those things out. But at the same time, like JD, lives out in California, but he's still like 2 hours away. So we weren't all staying at the same place. We weren't all doing everything at the same time. We would try to meet up there. And of course, it was the first time we met JD in person. So
yeah. Those
are always fun first experiences, when you finally meet somebody you've been chatting with online for a while.
So like I know obviously Steve and Mike are brothers.
Yep.
So how do you know them?
Well, we actually met at church. So So I met Steven, and that's how I met Mike, and then we kind of Steven and I worked together for a couple years at the place where I work, and so that's how we started playing games, of course. So,
yeah, well, obviously, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what brings everybody together. Like I keep talking about it every week, but like my my mod Dark Life, he's here every single week helping me out. He's my best man. I'm his. We met at work and like been playing games ever since. Like I've known him like 10 years now. It's crazy. Yeah. And like those are the kinds of connections that games bring to people. And like I don't know what I would do without games, honestly.
Yeah, there's some people I've been playing games with for 10 or 12 years that I've never even met. And it's just like we chat all the time, but I've never met them, and I would count them as close friends. I would do anything for those people, even though I've never met them. It's just how a game can bring you together. So.
Street Fighter for 3DS almost destroyed us.
Don't want to talk about that, Steven. Steven plays dirty. I'll just say that right now. Steven plays dirty. Right?
The secrets come out.
Win at any cost. All right.
So who would win the celebrity death match of the Freelancer Codex podcast?
Oh, that's a good question.
I think you all have your strengths. Mike.
Mike, he can run fast.
He lifts.
Walk fast. That's one thing. We went there. Like Mike, like he doesn't slow walk. He's like an Olympic speed walker for regular speed walking. It's just like, why are you guys so slow? I'm like, slow down. All right, slow
down. So you were saying before that you got to have dinner with Brendan Holmes. You got to talk to Jon Warner while you were there. Any other notable developers that you met at EA Play or E3 in general? Like you guys were there for a couple of days. You guys went to Xbox too, you and JD?
Yeah, we went to the Xbox. So that one was a real mess. Into that, we got in figure. 5 minutes before it started, and there was still a line of like 400 or 500 people behind us trying to get in, and it was just a real mess. And they have so many entrances, but they're only letting people through on one entrance. So
yeah,
like I said, it's a learning experience. It was the first time in their theater. I'm sure where they're gonna do everything from now on.
Yeah. But, well, especially with like the scale of it now, like you said, like 75,000 last year. I'm sure it was even more this year.
Yeah. Well, actually, they had a little less. I think they said 69 or 70,000. So, but I think that's probably from other people who are like, well, we got to go to E3. We didn't really get to play much, because that's the problem with all those people there. You're just standing in line for most of the day, and you play maybe a couple games, and that's it.
No Disney Speed Passes at E3, like.
No Speed Pass, unless you know somebody or you're a celebrity.
So like I like you and I discussed before that like you're under NDA about a lot of things, but like what was the reception that like John and Brendan had while you were, discussing some of the things about the game in general, what you saw at EA Play and the demo and everything like that?
Overall, I mean, for the developers, they were all super excited. Everybody that we talked to really enjoyed what they saw. I mean, the people that we talked to online and afterwards, and that's the easy thing for gamers. As we're standing in line, we all have things to talk about, know, and a lot of them really just enjoyed what they saw. I mean, I certainly did. Everything that I saw made me more excited for Anthem, and especially more of these interviews that have been coming out definitely made me more excited for what's in store for us.
And I know what you saw there was much better than what we saw on the Twitch streams, or even on YouTube or something like that. Like everything there was like, it wasn't 4K necessarily. It was definitely 60 frames, like, or close to.
Yeah, I mean, we don't know what it was. I mean, it looked like it 4K. It was super crisp, but it's a huge giant.
Yeah,
screen,
you can't really scale it that like you can't really tell what you're looking at.
Yeah, it was huge. The first time I went there, I was kind of like, well, screen is like super huge, and but no, I mean, it was running super smooth. It never looked like there was any kind of frame drops or anything. They did tell us that area was super polished. Of course they're going to try and bring a good polished complete area to run through. There was still some bugs in the build, but there's only so much time, so they couldn't fix everything.
Yeah, I mean, it seemed like that, like leading up to it, is that we had all this conversation from the devs like a couple months out, and then like the last 6 weeks, like it was quiet. You knew, like, all right, they are the game face is on, the war paint's on, they're ready to tighten up everything that's possible to get this thing to a playable state, so at least somebody can play it at the demo.
Yeah. I mean, they had a lot of people playing it. I don't know how many stations they had, but there was definitely a lot of people that got to play it. A lot of the bigger influencers, of course, got to play it, and a lot of celebrities were tweeting out pictures they were playing it. So, but yeah, no, I mean, it's definitely hard. From the developers that I've talked to in the past, and the ones that I know, it's like breaking something off to make it super stable, to take it to E3 takes away a lot of the time for the development.
Yeah, it's like taking a branch off and trying to graft it. Like that's basically what they did, try to grow another tree out of it.
Yeah, and it's the same for any kind of the betas or demos that we play. All these things are like months old because they're stable builds. Something that they can get out there that people can play. And a lot of times the bugs and stuff that you find or you run into, or ones they already know about, but they still want to get it into people's hands so they can get, their impressions of how things are going, how it's playing.
Yeah. So you guys came off E3, had another, you guys did a podcast kind of reflecting on E3. Next thing you know, you're having a phone conversation with Mike Gamble, the lead producer. So, without getting into the details of how that was set up, I'm sure there was some sort of, behind the scenes magic going on. But, you said it in the podcast, like it was kind of like a shocking experience. Like you don't know how to react to things like that. These people are celebrities to us, but they're regular people, But how did that go? How do you feel about doing that whole thing?
So I'll be honest, like before it even started, I was like super nervous. Like the hour before, I was like, all right, make sure everything gets connected. Am I recording? Is everything working right? And so I mean, it's always like nerves up until the point. But as soon as I started talking to him, JD and I, it was super chill. He was a laid back guy, just really excited to talk about Anthem. And so I mean, that had kind of been in the works for a little while.
Yeah.
And we just didn't know when it was going to happen. And so it kind of came up pretty quick on us, when it did happen. So we're like, okay, right, we gotta get everything ready to roll. And so unfortunately Steven couldn't make it because he couldn't get off work at the time. And then Mike, I don't know what happened to Mike. But,
I don't care. I had a conversation with Mike Gamble.
But no, it was really cool to talk to him.
It's lifting.
But like even when we talked to the developers there, and they're just down to earth, regular people. And like when Jonathan Warner came to talk to us, he just like walked up to us, when we were there at the booth, and he's like, "Oh, you're my freelancer dudes," and because he saw the video we posted on Twitter, and we were like, "Oh, cool," and we were just like, "Whoa," he's coming to talk to us, and so he chatted with us for about 10 minutes, and it's pretty cool. He brought us all the posters, and that's why we had extras that we could give away, and it was just cool. I mean, just taking the time to talk to us, and they're all very excited, like I've said before, and they want people to play the game because they want you to know that, like Mike said in the interview, it's like, I don't mind that people are comparing it to existing games plus our old games because they haven't played it, so they don't really understand it. We can only compare it to what we know because that's what we've had the opportunity to do. So.
But I think that was like my biggest take. Well, not my, because there was like so many things. Every time you get like one of them in front of a camera or in front of a recording device, like something slips, and like you get very good information out of like what they say. But one big thing that I noticed is how excited and how relieved they were by the reception that people had once they had it in their hands. Yeah. They're very confident with their product. They don't want to have like another mishap where the game feels very good and then once it's out, it's a totally different story. So to see that, like, I follow MTash. I didn't even realize that he was going to be a game changer because it's not really his type of game. Like he does a lot of Destiny. He's done Division, Monster Hunter, stuff like that. So to see that he was a game changer, and he played the game in January and said that from that build to now is like light years difference of like how much smoother the game is and how the controls work and everything like that. So even knowing that someone who was hesitant before is reaffirmed now that the game is in a better state is definitely reassuring as well.
Yeah, I think that's a lot of them. Pretty much anybody that's already played it and then played it again said, it's definitely improved and it's super fun and easy to play. So.
Yeah. And then like I was talking about it before that he let slip some information. They were talking. You guys asked him about the scar. It was like the first thing that we saw in the demo. This is the first enemy that we see. We really don't know much about them. So he kind of was talking about how like they're insect type creatures but humanoid at the same time. So that's interesting information. And then like I think you guys gained a lot of traction from that because it's not something that was anywhere. And I think people all over the Discords and the Reddits were referencing these particular statements, and and then I think Steve Anomaly, he was like, who's talking about the scar? No one's talking about the scar yet. And they're like, the Freelancer Codex Podcast.
They're like, what? Well, I mean, because Brad was there, the PR guy. He said it was all cool. So
yeah, as long. Yeah, and you guys like it sounded like you guys didn't cut anything. Like it was just like this is the raw recording. We kind of just went with it, and Mike even said that like I didn't read any of the questions.
Yeah. He's like, just a heads up, I didn't read any of this. So I mean, the PR obviously read through them, and we sent them like the weekend before. We put together a whole bunch of questions. We're like, all right, we'll send them questions beforehand, so they can say, okay, yes, we'll talk about that. No, we won't talk about it. And so I was definitely excited, for the questions they sent back and said, yeah, we could talk about. And then when Mike's like, I didn't even read these. So I'm like, oh, okay.
This should be fun.
Yeah. So, no, I mean, I was definitely excited when he talked about the scar and then going with infusions and a few other things in there. But, yeah, I mean, it's always exciting when they give out a little bit more information,
Than you were expecting? Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
So.
And I think that was another thing, too, is that they were talking about the infusions, and a lot of people that are familiar with Destiny are going to see infusions and think, I'm going to take my old stuff and make it better, and
that's not what it is, though.
Jon Warner came out very blatantly and said, like, look, like your old gear is your old gear. It's going to be more like Diablo, where if you want the better stuff, you got to go find it again, or Diablo or Borderlands is the same way, too. Where you kind of like constantly, like, where to get the stuff. You just have to get the better version once you're a higher level. So, like, if you're a level 10 and you get, gun XY, you can get it. You can get that gun from the same place at a higher level later in the game. So that's an encouraging thing. I think that's a really great idea and a really good approach to a loot system because if you like something from the bottom, you may get a better version of it later or in its final form, as John tried to word it like that.
Yeah. No, I mean, I was really excited. That's one thing I've talked about a lot in the podcast is that I had really hoped they would take cues from Diablo, especially Diablo 3 and how, the loot chase is all about getting the best version of that gear, You might have a certain version of that gear, but it's not the best, so whether we don't know if there's ways to re-roll your stats or anything like that. Mm-hmm. Obviously, they said you can infuse it with different properties. He said that in his last interview with GameInformer, and so I mean that has me excited about the possibilities. It's like, right, you're always on the hunt for the best version of your gear, the best version of that set or that kit that you want to build to be able to play the way you want to play.
Yeah. And I think that's a perfect segue right into Jon Warner's interview with Game Informer this week. I apparently they do it every month with their cover stories, and I didn't realize that that's what they did. But they had a 45-minute interview with Jon Warner, the game director, and he, was very open, candid with a lot of the things, and I mean, he blatantly came out and said that he had spent. I forget the exact word. Oh, shameful. He said a shameful amount of hours into Diablo 3.
Yep.
And if they can replicate that type of loot system, whether it be like the true loot system or into a season system, it's going to definitely speak volumes to the longevity of the game itself.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's there's so many things I like about Diablo 3. Steven hates it because he always wanted to play Diablo 3 on console, and I would hardly ever play with him. And then I started playing on PC with some of my other friends.
Yeah.
And he's like, just to spite you, I'm not going to play with you on PC. So, because we would do the season stuff all the time, and we would just be hammering it out, going through, and it's just such an easy loot chase of like, all right, okay, this is the best gear, these are the best things, but I need to find the best version of it. I need to keep doing these activities, and hopefully they have similar activities to like their dungeons that are made with different stuff, and maybe they have something similar to Battlefield 5, their new co-op gameplay mode, Combined Arms. I'm hoping they have something similar to that creates more randomness, but we don't know. I mean, he definitely talked about more Elder Game or in-game content.
The Elder Game, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm interested to see what they have there, and he definitely cleared up a lot of things. So I mean, I don't know what specifically you want to talk about, but
no, like Steve's saying in the chat there, like we've discussed it on the show a couple times about obviously the strongholds are more like strikes and dungeons, so that's a pretty clear idea of what it's going to be, but the other things are still up in the air. We don't know what that's going to be. But I mean, someone mentioned raid, and John didn't necessarily say no to a raid, but he kind of said he's like, you'll enjoy what we see. But the other thing that you could see is like what Steve's saying, the Shaper Storms are like rifts, or like Nephilim rifts. And that's definitely a certain possibility. And I think that, because I'm not the biggest Diablo fan. I've played it and I understand like the concepts of everything. But from what I understand, it's similar to procedural generation, where it's kind of different every time you go in. So there's different things to chase and different different loot to get. So I mean, that's definitely something that Anthem can benefit from.
Yeah. So they have like, especially like tile sets. They have a vast amount of tile sets, and they just kind of piece it all together. So every time you're going through, it's going to be a little bit different. It's not going to be the same layout. It's not going to be the same dungeon. Obviously you're working towards the same goal, killing enough enemies, until you get the Rift Guardian to appear, and then kill him, and then you get your loot. And if you can do it in time, you get better rewards. If not, you don't. So, but I mean, there's definitely a lot of things they can do in there, because that game is just the same thing over and over and over again. But millions of people play it, and it's fun to play. And the longevity, with upgrading your gear, finding the best versions, enchanting your items or infusing them, if that's what it is, to create better versions. I don't know.
Yeah, I agree. So another thing that they touched on in that interview was the fact that they kind of defined the dynamic events, because it was a thing that was, that we're prospecting different things. Are the Shapers able to wipe everything clean, and we have basically a new landscape or something like that? And they came out and said that the geometry of the game isn't going to change, but it's more the events that happen. Weather's going to affect things. Your day-night cycle is going to affect things. Potentially the time of year may affect things. So I think that's another way also to extend the longevity of the game, to make all the encounters a little bit different than the last time you went in. But I mean, the terrain's familiar, but the activities are different.
Yeah, I mean, he said they want us to be able to master the terrain, right? So they know the way that they can make things different is by having enemies appear, in different places. So it's not going to be the same like they've talked about for a little while, where it's like, oh, you go over the waterfall, there's those same three dudes. Like when you're playing the strike, okay, these people appear over here, this guy appears over here.
Yep.
It just gets boring, and it's like, all right, let's just run through it, get past these guys.
Like you always know where Randall the Vandal is, you know?
Yeah, he's always right here. You know, we gotta kill this guy. But I mean, that'll be interesting. That's a good way where they can make it different every time. I mean, if they can mix it up enough, you know, that's the whole thing, is how much can they mix it up, and how much of a difference is it really gonna make? So,
Yeah.
I mean, because there's a lot of us. I mean, when you think about it, they're like, oh, you know, I played this game for 40 hours and I already did everything already. It's like, you already played for 40 hours in the first week. What do you expect? You know?
Yeah.
So, I mean, the rate that we consume the games, you know, we'll see. Hopefully they're prepared for that. And, I mean, they did confirm there's dailies and weeklies and repeatable missions and those kind of things. So,
and I think a lot of the people that come from outside of BioWare are looking for that ritualistic type of game. You know, things where you have weekly tasks or daily tasks to go in, similar to Destiny, Division, Diablo in a sense. You know, I don't know if Diablo was a daily thing. I know they had, like, you know, the seasonal type things, but things with time sensitivity is what drives people to play a game at specific times. So I mean, look at Overwatch. Overwatch is a game where it's literally the same thing all the time, but people go into on those the events to play specific things and get specific loot and skins and stuff. So I think I don't know if it's just a way that we become trained as gamers at this point, and that's just the expectation we have now, that we, you know, if certain times are, like, certain things are only available certain times, that we're gonna go in and do them. But they have to prey on that. They do. Like,
yeah, I mean, it's good and bad. The thing, like, it got really bad for Destiny. I forget what, I think it was it the Black Widow sniper, or where it's like only available Wednesday night from this time to this time.
Oh,
with
yeah.
a certain mission, and you have to complete it in
the Black Spindle, yeah.
Yeah. And so, I mean, I got it pretty early into when they started doing that, but it's just like, all right, when you go back through and try and help your friends go through there and get it in the time, and you got to do all these things, and it just became, all right, every Wednesday night we're only going to try for this, and we're not going to do anything else.
I had to wait till it was on a Friday. Like, I remember that specifically. That, like, I was like, this thing takes. It's not that it's long. It's short. It's actually really short. But the fact that you have to do it perfectly, the right amount of time. You know, so I was like, all right, I can dedicate X amount of hours on a Friday night to do this. But yeah, like you said, it's a good and bad thing. You know, it gave you that time that, like, but this is what they were saying. You know, Casey Hudson had mentioned that before, that, like, there's a specific event going on. You text your friends, say, hey, look, this event's going on. We got to go do this. And that is definitely one thing that I did with the Black Spindle quest. Like, one of my mods nights, I text him. I was like, yo, we have to get on now and get this gun. Like, I've been waiting for weeks to get this thing. Let's go. So, you know, that was definitely something that we pursued. And it's a good thing that, you know, we can look forward to those types of things.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely confirmed on Twitter that they're going to have, you know, events for all the holidays and all that stuff. Yeah. So that'd be cool to see, you know. I don't know, I mean, what they're going to do since Fort Tarsus, you know, is all for ourselves and those kind of things. But I guess they could dress it up nice for us, you know?
Yeah.
So
I mean, Division was the same way, but they didn't have the kind of events that Destiny did initially. I mean, I didn't play that long in the beginning. I think I made it through like one holiday in that game.
Yeah, that first
the
year
early days were tough.
For the Division, it was, you know, when they brought out, we talk about it a lot. What was their first raid like? I can't remember what they called
Incursion.
Yeah, incursions. But those waves, it was just, you know, if you don't get it perfect, and so we're just like, whatever, we're not playing this. So.
Yeah, I agree.
We're filthy casuals. We can't play this. So.
Yeah, incursion. So we were talking about it before a little bit about time frame, how long things would take. And that question actually came up to Jon, and they said, how long is the campaign? And like, they're not going to commit to a specific time on the campaign. You know, the Mass Effects were like in the between 20 to 30, 40 hours, something like that. If you like kind of went through everything and did the quest. I mean, Andromeda is like 120 hours if you do everything. Dragon Age was like 60 hours if you did everything. But they're not committing to a time, but he says just right. But a game like this isn't necessarily based around a campaign. It's based on everything else, the loot chase, the rituals, and everything like that. And I think that's where the game needs to be. And you don't necessarily want to sit there through a campaign when you know that the guns are waiting for you outside. You know, it's like waiting to get your driver's license, then being able to finally drive a car. You know, like.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think a lot of people it's still that same problem we talked about where they're coming in with baggage. We basically say JD comes with all the baggage,
BioWare baggage.
BioWare baggage, and they're expecting this long story or all these things, and like they said, it's still going to be a BioWare story. It's still going to be really good, but they have to kind of remember what this game is. It's supposed to be a co-op, experience, but you're still going to be able to experience the story on your own through your own choices and those kind of things. So, yeah, I mean, I guess it depends on if you're like, okay, if we just complete just those story missions, how long does it take?
Yeah.
And then what about all the side quests and all these other information and stuff? So, I don't know. It's like they said, the game really begins at the Elder game, or the
yeah,
game.
yeah.
So.
But then also that, like, you have to take into consideration how fast is someone gonna complete the campaign without unlocking the other javelins. Like, I want to unlock all of them before I'm even done. Like, I'm not so totally sold on one class at this point. Like, we've only seen enough of 2 to make a decision on 2.
Yeah.
Like, people are ready to like sell their soul to the interceptor class. I'm sorry.
Yeah, or the storm. Everybody wants to play the storm.
Yeah.
And it's like, it looks cool, but it doesn't. It's not my style. I'll still play it, but Steven knows. He's more the warlock type. I'm more the Titan.
Yeah.
So,
the tank.
It
has a cape.
A glass cannon is not my playstyle.
No, mine neither. I like sustainability. I mean, that's why I think me personally, I'll end up probably being the ranger. That seems like the most reasonable class. Like, I like being able to do damage and protect myself at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting because really the way they're kind of explaining things, they're still kind of a little cagey about it, but you can basically make it, you fit your playstyle. Whether that means whether that means the storm can be a tank, I don't think it can, but the way they describe it, because especially in this interview, they went into like, okay, your melee, it's javelin based. It's not like you can pick something up off the ground.
Yeah.
And that's again what we talked about with Mike was about the melee for the Colossus, and then obviously like the abilities for your javelin. That was another thing that I thought was interesting when they talked about customization. Is you can pick up the different pieces, but it's not going to change the abilities of your javelin based upon the armor or the gear that you're wearing. It's not going to give you more stat points or whatever. So I thought that was definitely a different way of taking things than going like Destiny, where it's like, okay, we got to get this gear that has this many points or whatever. Whereas it's all about you leveling up your javelin and making your choices, and then leveling up your pilot.
I mean, they did say that there was min-maxing though. Like, so, like if you're one who likes to min-max, like I love Destiny 1 for that particular like reason. And once I got like max stats, I was like, yes, I am done with the game finally. So I mean, that only took 3 years, but there's something to say about that. Like Destiny 2 right now, like doesn't have something like that. You have the things that you like, and then the things that you don't. There's no like better of this or better of that. Like the Masterworks kind of changed things a little bit, but I think with a Diablo style loot system, which they're kind of hinting that this is going to be, you always have that opportunity for a little bit more elemental damage or more damage over time, whatever it is like that. So there's always the opportunity of getting higher things, and I don't think we'll know enough until we have the API in our hands, if we ever do. If we don't, we might not ever know what the maxes are.
Yeah, well, and then they also talked about how there's no limitation to your vault space, which is a great thing, because they want it to be where it's like, okay, we've changed it now. You have this new enemy or whatever, and your gear set that you're working with now doesn't work. So now you got to figure out what's the best gear. What do I got to equip to go out there and destroy these people? And so maybe I didn't gear out my javelin correctly, and so I got to change all that and figure out what works. So that'll definitely give us more opportunities to keep grinding. Oh, I never got the frost version of this or whatever, or the ice version, whatever they're gonna call it, and so.
So we'll jump into the next thing. They have been delicately walking around the competition, Destiny, Division, Diablo 3. I mean, Diablo seems more like they're very much using it as an influence as opposed to a competition. But people want to automatically say, like you said before, we don't have the game in our hands, so all we're going to do is compare it to what we already know. But I don't think they want to come out and say anything like, I think Destiny does this bad, or Division does this bad. because it's just bad PR. I mean, Division did the same thing, and it killed their game. Like, they marketed themselves as a Destiny killer. Like, they came out themselves and gave them their own title, and it didn't end up well.
It did not end up well. I mean, I think they're given, you know, a few slight burns here and there, where it's like, why would you put a cap on inventory space, or this thing or that, you know? It's like, oh, we're just, you know, shots fired, but, you know, at the same time, they're not like specifically saying, hey, Destiny sucks, Division sucks. You know, they work in the industry, you know, they probably know people that work at the studios and those kind of things, and I'm sure, you know, behind closed doors, they all talk about, hey, these parts suck and these parts don't, you know, and they definitely, hopefully, will, you know, have learned from what those other games have done and what they've screwed up and what they can do to make them better. So.
I think that's an interesting point too, that they were talking about that a long time ago. I mean, Devon, Brendan Holmes said that very early in you know, our speculation, that they were paying attention to the other things going on. You know, at the time, Monster Hunter was the most successful game out at the moment, you know, and that's something that they took a lot of influence from, to see, like, this is a game that's been out forever, but why is it doing so well right now? You know, I mean, the accessibility of Monster Hunter on multiple platforms definitely helped its cause. But it was fun to play. There was things to do, and a lot of people on the staff, on the development team, were playing it at the time, you know, so they drew the influence from that. But they're looking at everything. You know, Jon Warner came out and said that he was that they're actively looking at what things are doing good and what things are doing bad, and I think that's the best way to approach it at this point.
Yeah. No, I mean, there's really, it's like we keep talking about it. I mean, until we actually get to play it, you know, Mike's like, he's just, it's so different, you know, but I can't really explain to you how it's different without giving things away, or you just have to play it to understand it, you know. So
I agree, and I think we're all like dying to get it in our hands now. Like, and that's I think having such accessibility to resources the way we do now just makes the anticipation that much worse. You know, we got the game revealed to us a year ago, and then we had the ability to watch that over and over and over and over and over and over again until, you know, we really couldn't, or we could repeat every line of the trailer. And we're gonna do that now until the next thing comes out, you know.
Yeah, we made 42 episodes of a podcast.
Yeah. Off of 7 minutes of gameplay. That's pretty impressive.
Reddit can, you know.
Yeah. So the next thing that obviously we're gonna talk about, and Jon brought it up at the end of his interview, is the next time we may see gameplay, and they are going to showcase all of the classes. Not like, okay, this is what we're gonna show a little bit of this. No, they're gonna showcase everything. They said they're not gonna show anything else until they're ready to show everything as far as the classes. You know, Darkle's bringing it up right now, but it's Gamescom, which is the last week of August. PAX West, which is, I think it's like the 31st of August.
Yeah.
To like the 3rd of September. And then the other potential is EGX at the end of September. So those are 3 conventions coming up that we could potentially see things. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, we kind of talked about this a little bit, and any of those, they could definitely show it off. It's just I'm trying to look back at what kind of history do they have there. You know, do they go to any of those? And I mean, I think that they went to PAX West a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
And I don't know how often they go to Gamescom, though. I'm not sure if they go to Gamescom very often. So, I mean, I know Gamescom is a lot more consumer-friendly than E3. But my whole thing is like, I don't really think they need a convention to show it off. Like, they could just show it off anytime. They could just pull like a Rockstar move where we're just going to show off a trailer and we're going to do it all ourselves, and we don't need another platform to show it off because a lot of people are interested in our product. And, you know, so, I mean, the longer they delay it, the busier things get. More games are going to be coming out and that kind of stuff. I hope they continue to talk about it. You know, and maybe they don't show off any more gameplay, but maybe they talk about more things in detail.
Yeah.
You know, with their blog and other things to kind of keep the momentum going that they've gained from E3.
Well, I mean, now that you say it, that's another thing that we didn't get this month. You know, Casey Hudson, since April. Yeah, since April, he's done a monthly blog thing. We didn't get one in June, so that's definitely something else that we can hope to expect in July. Given that the Game Informer coverage is up. They had a month-long coverage through Game Informer because it was their cover story for the month, and now we're basically waiting from now until whenever to get more information. So I don't disagree with you about the fact that they may certainly just have their own thing, whether it be a Twitch live stream or something like that, because that's also something done in the past too with Andromeda. They did just like kind of their own thing. I mean, we got the announcement for Andromeda at N7 Day, which is November 7th. I don't think we're gonna wait that long. I don't think, Jon Warner made it very apparent that we're gonna get something in end of summer, early fall.
End of summer. Yep.
So I would say September sometime. That's 2 months away. That's a nice little stewing point. I like the anticipation is killing everybody now. Like that's like. People don't want to, like, people always say, like, you don't want to overhype a game, but I think the hype level is just at its absolute maximum right now because of everything that we saw, the good things that we're hearing from a lot of different people, and I think the critical outlook that people have had of the game itself. They're not sitting here saying, I'm the biggest fanboy and this game's going to be great. No, people have gone and saying, I'm pretty skeptical about this. I don't know how I'm going to feel about it. And now they're saying, okay, this looks really good now. I mean, the biggest one, if you look at, like, Skill Up, he was like, I don't know, like, I can't trust EA. They touched the game, they're like, all right, I am completely sold on this now. Yeah.
I mean, we talked about that earlier. All the people that get their opportunity to play the game, they really enjoy it, and they definitely see what's going on and are able to understand it more. Where they had issues before, they don't anymore. And so, I'm just excited. I mean, hopefully there's there's only 235 days until Anthem comes out.
But who's counting?
I mean, who's counting? I mean, that's if you don't get the PC version.
Yes, I mean, like I said, I've been saying it every week now that I am going to play 7 days early because I am that anxious.
Oh yeah, that you and me both.
And you don't have to pay for it. You don't have to pre-order it. You don't have to. You can buy your Origin access the week before. Yeah. And have it for 3 weeks thereafter.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you can have, so if you only get Origin access, you only get it for 10 hours.
Yeah, the premiere.
Yeah, if you get the premiere, which they're saying it's going to be $100, but if you're like, for me, I was going to get Battlefield 5, and obviously you're going to get Anthem, so it's like premiere gives you both of those games for free.
Yep.
So it gives you the best version. So it's like, I mean, that's less than what it cost to buy both those games. So why would I not get that?
Even if you play it for a month.
Yeah.
So if you play it for Battlefield is Battlefield's a little bit before then, like November, right? October, November. So I mean, yeah, like you said, even if you pay for Premiere in October, November, you have it for 6 months, and you pay for one game and you play two. So.
Yeah, I mean, plus it gives you access to over 100 other PC games.
Yep.
So, and all their new big games, FIFA, Madden.
Well, they have a lot of other games on there too. Like I saw, like there's some Warner Brother games on there too. Like Dark Knight. Some of the Dark Knight games are on there. So
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's a lot of good stuff, And I think that's where the industry is going to go now is to have a better value, and a company like EA. As much as like I love BioWare, EA still does some really terrible things. But they're turning things around now, and they're trying to earn some trust back.
Yeah, and I think they've seen the success that Microsoft has had with the Game Pass,
Mm-hmm.
and I mean they're both EA and Microsoft are kind of working on the same things where they're working on a streaming service. They both have a Game Pass now, and obviously with EA access on the Xbox, which I have on there as well, it's a really good value. It's $30, and gives you 10 days early access to those games, even if Microsoft doesn't have the marketing rights, which is always enjoyable. So
yeah,
but yeah, no, I mean that's going to be something that obviously that cuts down their development time. When you look at that, because it's got to be ready to roll a full week early for people to play all the time on PC.
Yep.
And so then we have even less time to finish the game and get it through and get it gold and and put it out there. So and they're supposed to be having demos or betas in between then.
Demo.
Yeah, whatever that means.
Whatever it means. Demo, beta, which because like John very like adamantly said, replied to beta, and he said, "Oh yeah, baby." So
Yeah,
I mean, like,
they've all talked about beta, so I mean, it's definitely going to be there. They want to get a lot of people to play it, but I just hope. I mean, it can't be like a regular demo like a lot of these where it's just a server test. It's like, oh, it's a weekend before, and that doesn't help anything really. I mean, it helps them, but only so much. It doesn't give them enough info.
Like, I mean, vanilla Destiny, we had like a good 7 days with that, with that game. Like, you were able to exhaust the content on 3 characters, no problem. Like, I know I did. Like, I think I played like 30 hours of the beta or something like that.
Yeah, but, no, it's like, well, I had a PS4, played the alpha, and then I played the beta on the PS4, and then I played on the Xbox also. And then the hard thing though was their alpha was like, I would say a third of the entire game. When it came out, Vanilla Destiny, of the places you could go to. So that's the thing you have to be wary of. It's like, okay, well, how much content do we give them in this?
Yeah.
And because I think Destiny gave us too much content. Destiny 2 didn't give us enough content with their beta.
Yeah.
So they trimmed it back too much. And so, I mean, it's definitely going to be interesting. I mean, it's all PvE. So that'll be interesting to see how they kind of block that out. Where they'll just put, some death walls in there or whatever. I don't know. They can only fly so far. So.
Like the Destiny beta, they put those hive in the basement there. And they were like question marks, yellow bar, and I was like, I want to go fight these guys though.
Yeah. Oh, they're too much for you.
Oh man, like you went down there one time, they just smack you and you'd be dead. So definitely gave you a reason not to go down there for sure.
Yeah. Well, and they're gonna have that same thing in Anthem. They already said, there's areas you're gonna go that you should not be there yet, and I like that.
Yeah.
I like that going somewhere where you shouldn't be, and maybe if you want to try it, you give it a shot. So.
It says immune every time you hit them, but
yeah, you keep going,
keep trying.
Keep trying.
Appreciate the persistence.
Yeah.
All right, so we're gonna jump into chat here and see if anybody got questions for the evening, and then we're gonna wrap up. Beta should be bugs and server tests. I agree.
Yeah.
I mean, it should be a little bit of everything though. But I mean, new IP should give you a little taste and make you want a little bit more. Like I remember playing the Destiny beta. Once I got done with that, I didn't want to play any game but Destiny. I tried to play Warframe because somebody said it would be similar to Destiny, and I played one game and uninstalled it off my Xbox.
JD would be like, I love that game. But, yeah, no, it's like the best beta I could think about is the Halo 5 beta they had. It was a year before the game even came out, and it actually made a difference in what they had. They're like, okay, these modes work, this doesn't work. These weapons are imbalanced. This isn't, and that actually made a difference because they had all this time to work with all the information they had. So I'm hoping it, maybe they show us something in September and say, hey, we're also having a beta this month,
If Anthem and Division are both legit, can they coexist? What happens to D2 in that scenario? I think my biggest thing with that particular scenario is that each of the 3 games are going to do something a little bit different and force the other games to make a better version of itself. So it's a competition breeds innovation, and that's just the way that I see it personally. I don't think any one game can destroy the other. The only thing that can destroy them is themselves. Like Division destroyed itself in year 1, Destiny is destroying itself right now, and that's just how I feel about it personally.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how Anthem and the Division are going to go. I mean, they're different, but they're really close. They're like a couple weeks apart, So I know for me, I really wanted to play the Division 2, and I was super interested. But then when I found out how close it was to Anthem, it's just like, I'm not gonna have time for it probably. So.
Yeah, that's exactly where. Even if I wanted to try, because I definitely right now, there's times where I want to play Division, and I think about it a little bit. But there's too much to play right now. There's too much to play in the very near future, and then there's too much to play close to launch. There's Anthem's launching with 3 or 4 other titles in the same day.
Yeah. Well, the Metro Exodus, that one comes out. Crackdown comes out.
Days Gone, the PS exclusive. Yeah. I mean, that's not really not much. No mind to me. I don't have a PlayStation, so.
Yeah.
But they're all different games. It's not. They're not.
Yeah.
They're nothing. None of the games are similar enough to draw away from the other ones.
Yep.
Do you think that they? Oh yeah, no. Finish your thought. I was gonna go to the next question.
No, I was just saying it just depends on whichever one you're more interested in, and obviously for us here, it's going to be Anthem.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you think they have the Rockstar clout to release info like that? Mass Effect Andromeda soured a lot of people. I think they do now. After like Steve said in chat too. I think after E3 show they do. With the awards they won, they have some momentum. Yeah. Pretty much every publication gave Anthem best at show.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I see no issue. I mean, because a lot of people are basically clamoring for that information. They want that information, and so I think it's really easy for them to say, hey, we're gonna have a blog post, and then a couple days we're gonna drop a new trailer, and they don't even need to worry about going to somebody else and putting it on at their show.
Yeah, I think like Destiny's done a pretty good job lately of doing like a stream of information that comes out over time. But I don't know how it's going to be moving forward. Like I would really hope that like they kind of surprise us and just show us something the next day. And that'd be excellent. But yeah, we're all in the dark here.
Participation awards.
E3 awards like participation awards, but it like the awards are. But I mean, if your peers are playing the games and they're like, that's the best way to tell your standing is to be voted on by your peers. Critics or something like that is one thing, but if other developers and people that are closely tied to the development of the game, they're the ones that are really going to make that impact and really say how the game's faring at that point.
Yeah.
They're fighting for some players. There's obviously that's not who votes. In most of those, that is who it is. It's developers and some like press, media, and stuff. But it's a lot of people that are well involved with like the designing of games and stuff like that. So, I mean, they literally took home almost every single award of best game at E3 2018, which is incredible. That's like Zelda type stuff.
When we were there, I was hitting myself because like, man, we should have made an award so we could put it up on their thing.
Best game by Freelancer Codex Podcast.
Game of the show, Freelancer Codex. They were like, who the crap's that?
No, I hear you. Hopefully we see more from you soon, Dark Life. I don't know, I'm just like overwhelmingly excited for new stuff and to see like when things are coming out.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like you said earlier, when you were talking about after you played Destiny, it's like after watching the demo from Anthem and how good it looked and how amazing the stuff that they showed off in there was, it's just like I came home and I'm like, I don't really care about playing anything else, and even the games I'm like playing, it's just like, yeah, I guess I'll throw that on, do something for an hour, because it's like all I really want to play is Anthem.
Yeah, I feel myself the same way. It's like I want to play all these other games, but I can't get like heavily invested because I want Anthem in my hands yesterday.
Yeah.
Steve saying with the amount of OP people asking Mark the same question on Twitter, there are a lot of people that don't have the info. Yes, and I agree. It's really shocking to see how frequently you see the same questions asked. And Morbid says any info on DLC content and time of release. There is no timetable for anything, like as Steve answered your question below. But they did say that all story-based content will be free.
Yeah, I mean they did say they already have a team working on it, which is good. So. I mean, we don't know when Game Informer went there to do the interview. I'm guessing it was obviously before E3.
Yeah.
So that's 9-10 months worth of time to create content.
Yeah.
Which is great. So.
Dark says, do you think they're gonna be season pass or loot boxes? No and no. Fully confirmed. No and no.
Yeah. We'll still have cosmetic items, but no loot boxes.
Like we will have N7 skins, and that's what matters most. Clearly D2 marketing execs have a master plan. I mean,
or had, he said.
Yeah, had. They think they could do a Fortnite battle pass though. I see. I do feel that there could be some sort of like subscription type of thing where you might get like Well, are you saying like in like relation to skins and stuff, or cosmetic items where like you can get like a starter pack, like you get like X amount of skins or extra currency, something like that, or because I thought like there could be like a subscription thing. That's not a good trend. What, the battle pass thing? I mean, battle pass right now, the Fortnite battle pass is the best value in DLC gaming, but it's also a free to play game. Like, that's one thing you have to look at too. Like, it's a free to play game made by a AAA developer, which is even crazier to think because it's at the same time.
I mean, you do have to buy something at least once to be able to unlock more items.
Yeah.
In the future, like I play every now and then, and I don't really want to pay for anything in this game because I'm not gonna be committed to it.
Yeah.
So, but they're like, well, you can't earn anything really. I mean, besides one or two things if you don't buy at least one kind of pass in the beginning. So. Yeah.
So, Morbid says no loot boxes. If I get another pink polo on PUBG, I'm done. Yes, yeah. I agree. Skins and cosmetics that you play to level up. So that was Steve's answer to the battle pass in Anthem question. So I think that'd be okay. I think I would like that. Like if they say, okay, you're gonna get X amount of skins over a certain period of time, and as you level up, you're gonna get skins. Like I can see that too, but I just like to contextualize it would be the issue for me.
I think I just prefer the method that they're going with of, okay, if you see this, you can buy that, and I just don't know how much it's going to cost and where they have the price point for like those skins and other things or other cosmetic items,
Yeah.
It's just going to be how much is it going to cost, because I'm not going to pay $20 for a skin.
Not in a $60 game.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's just too
no
much.
Way.
Even in Fortnite, I would not want to pay that. I mean, that's what everybody's doing, obviously, when they're making, what's 300 million in a couple months, and so I mean they're making money, like they're doing Dumb and Dumber, wiping their butt and everything with the amount of money they're making.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I mean, obviously people buy cosmetics, and there's definitely a market for it, and it's not loot boxes because I mean you see what you get, So.
See, I've paid money on Overwatch skins though. I'm not even gonna.
Oh, I have. Yeah, I've purchased this stuff for Overwatch.
But like if I don't have the time to like grind out an event, I'll put like a $10 in every event and say like, okay, if I don't get this particular time, then that's it. That's all I've got. Me too.
Yeah.
But Dark Life's right. Like, stop putting free to play stuff in play P2P games. Okay. I get what you're saying. Don't put free to play stuff in games that we're paying full price on.
Yeah.
Like loot boxes in a game like that should not exist. Like if you want to put cosmetics, like let me know what I'm going to pay for.
Yeah. That's the one thing that is kind of rough for Overwatch is their loot boxes, and because it's like, oh, I really want to get something, and you can eventually get to it if you play a lot, but
yeah.
If you're a casual like me that plays it, when I can, there's just not enough time, and so I end up. That's what they want, is the casual people who don't have enough time.
Yeah.
They want you to put your money in and buy it. So.
Hey, Trevor, welcome to the show, man. How you doing? But that's my one downfall with Overwatch is that if there was a more direct pay thing, I'd be more content. I think Anthem needs crossplay. I agree. I would love to play on one console. Like I experienced Fortnite crossplay for the first time this weekend, and it was great. It was wonderful. I was able to play on PC, which works much faster than the Xbox, surprisingly enough.
Yeah.
But yeah, like Dark Life says right below you. Sony says no, and I don't think that's going away anytime soon. I don't think it's going away anytime soon.
I think because it's PvE, they should definitely have crossplay between console and PC.
Yeah.
I mean, some people are like, oh, you're not going to kill as many enemies as people on PC, and it's like,
that's not necessarily true,
yeah.
But
I mean, who knows? I mean, I'll play Battlefield on PC, and I play with the controller. I'm not going to lie, play with the controller because I don't want to waste my time. Like, oh, where am I? Because I don't play a lot of PC games, and so I play with the controller, and I am middle to the top of the scoreboard every time I play.
Yeah.
And I'm just playing with the controller, and so I'm like, I'm not looking to be a professional. I'm not going to be a ninja or somebody else. Just tearing people up. It's like I'm just playing the game to have a good time, and me trying to like relearn and how to play the game with keyboard and mouse is just not something that I want to do. And so I mean, especially for Anthem, where they were playing on, controllers when they were playing on PC.
Halo 2 Pro over here.
Yes.
Give him the Duke and he'll wreck everybody.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I did play a lot of Halo 2. But I mean, I think it just depends on who you are. I mean, there's definitely. I mean, you can adjust everything for your controller and make it faster, so you can compete with a keyboard and mouse if that's really what you want to do. I don't really boost anything in mine, and I'm still don't have really many issues. So. Yeah.
Like I know a lot of people that play Destiny on PC with controller just because they prefer the game experience. Like it's just so much cleaner. You get people are getting 120 frames without sweating on Destiny 2 or PC. Oh, yeah. It's just like incredible like what they can output. Like I can get 120 frames, but I can't stream at 120 frames. I tried that already, and you get stutters like a you wouldn't believe. But it's a really great experience. Like anybody. I think PC gaming is going to become much more affordable in the very near future, and it's gonna take off. I think Fortnite's paving the way for the next generation of PC gamers.
Yeah, well, I mean the big thing with Fortnite is also it's creating issues because you don't really have to aim too much because they have a lot of auto aim in Fortnite. So, I mean, I guess you could say a lot of old time PC gamers are just like. Oh, you don't even have to aim, It's like my dog can win at Fortnite or whatever.
My dog can win at Fortnite.
Yeah. I'm just like, all right, whatever. I mean, I can win, but
I mean, you still have to like be decent at it. You still have to have like decent target acquisition. It's not like it just happens.
Yep.
But like I'm enjoying it. Like Dark, I'm saying I'm a sellout because I'm a lifelong Xbox player. Like I've had Xbox since the original Xbox came out. Like I bought my first my first job I got in 2001. In 2002 I bought my first Xbox like with my own hard-earned money. It's the first console I bought for myself, and I've been dedicated to Xbox ever since. But PC is fun, man. Like
it's. I mean, ever since I built my PC, it's. I mean, I play on an Xbox One X also, and I love the games on there.
Yeah.
And but just the graphics that I can get on my PC are better than what I can get on console, and I can get. The game was, but I mean, it's so much smoother. I mean, like we've talked about before, going from 60 frames Destiny to 30 frames, it's like
you can't unsee the frames.
Yeah, I mean, you can't unsee the smoothness, right? I mean, it's so smooth, and so that's why I'm hoping they have crossplay. I mean, that's why why I built my computer because. I was, I'm a hardcore Xbox fan. That's my main console. That's what I do. And they're like, oh, future first-party titles are going to be on PC as well. So it's like, why not? And they're going to have crossplay. So I don't see any reason why they shouldn't have crossplay for Anthem.
I'm a multi-platform player, but you still sold out. No, I did not sell out. I still play on Xbox. Just if I have the opportunity to crossplay, I'm going to play on PC now.
Yeah.
It's just easier. It's easier. I can see it at 60 frames plus 144 hertz, 1 millisecond delay on my monitor.
Yeah.
Who's giving away a PC any parts? Yeah. I saw Micro Center having a good sale today, Steve.
Yeah. So I mean, you can just do so much more with the PC. Stop fishing.
Fish on. Yeah, I think we're gonna call it there. We're just gonna get dumped on by my mods and my best personal friends for switching over to PC.
That's the hard thing, when you switch, it's like where do you play games with? Even us.
Yeah, no, I hear you.
PC and Xbox, but it's like if we can't crossplay, we spend all this money on our PC, so
I'm gonna do both.
I'm gonna do both. It's gonna be hard to do both.
Yeah, oh absolutely. I'm finding out with Destiny now. But guys, thanks for everyone hanging out tonight. Mod support, Steve, thank you for hanging out, supporting your man in the Freelancer Codex podcast. You can find Devon at freelancercodex.com or on Twitter at freelancercodex, or check out his own personal Twitter at neverfear. It's also your Xbox gamer tag if you want to have friends there too. Yeah. You can find me at Luba to the Rescue on all the things: Mixer, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, and Origin. If you want to find me on Origin so we can play Anthem at launch. Join the Discord. Morbid will put the Discord link into chat there. Stay up to date with all the live streams. and we will see everybody very, very soon. Appreciate you all hanging out. Guys, we will talk again very soon.